Hey, welcome to UK Wildcrafts. I'm having a foraging walk and exploring around the mouth of the River Severn, starting in Portishead and then making my way in the direction of Clevedon. So let's see what we can find. Here's a nice place to start. We've got some rock samphire. The leaves can be picked at any time of year, but they are quite bitter in late summer. You can also pick these seed pods, and they've got a similar taste to the leaves. So I'm going to grab a load of these and I'm going to pickle these a bit like capers. These seed pods are quite crunchy and they've got a flavour somewhere between carrot and aniseed, and they can be fairly bitter, but pickling them takes away a lot of that bitterness. There's loads of it here in its favourite habitat along the cliffs next to the sea. I'll also pick some of this sea beet. These succulent leaves here are sea aster. They've got a nice salty crunch. There's sea beet everywhere around here. And I'm going to use some of this to make a sea beet frittata, something that I make pretty much once a month. I've been eating sea beet for a lot of years, but I still absolutely love it. It's a great plant that you can find all year round. And just look how fresh it is here. You'll never find greens this fresh in the supermarket. Just walking past this area here, and I thought to myself, this looks like a tomato plant. And it is. Not sure how this got here. I do know that sometimes you'll get these self-seeded near sewage outlets. I'm sure you can imagine why. But yeah, not sure. Maybe someone planted this here or dropped some seeds here. But these are some very healthy looking tomato plants. Now is the time to be picking sloes. These are slightly underripe, but that's how I want them because I'm going to be making some sloe olives with these. Just out of interest, those red berries are poisonous. They're black briny. I've just walked inland a bit to explore a woodland that I've never been to before, near Clevedon. I wanted to see if I could find any mushrooms, but I think it's just way too dry. We've not had any proper rain in months now. But hopefully, by the look of it, we've got rain coming tomorrow and for the rest of the week, which is good because we really need some rain now because we're coming into mushroom season. As you can see, the ground's just bone dry, so I'm not really expecting to find anything today, but it's nice to explore anyway. This does look like a good woodland though. It's got that feel to it that it's going to be a good mushroom woodland after some rain. It's got all the right trees here. You've got oak, beech, pine, spruce, sweet chestnut, all the best trees for finding mushrooms. And there's lots of dead wood and fallen trees left to rot on the ground, which is a good sign as well. Found some dryad saddle, but these are completely dried out. Might make a good frisbee, but that's about it. A fallen beech tree is always a good place to look for mushrooms, and we've got quite a nice amount of giant polypore here, or blackening polypore as it's also known. And this is quite a nice edible mushroom. And there's quite a lot growing around it as well from the roots. There's the roots there. So this is the perfect stage when it's still nice and soft. This is a good mushroom to slow cook in a sauce like hoisin and then shred it a bit like pulled pork, and it's got a very meaty texture. But you only want it really when it's nice and young like this. I'm not actually going to take any of this today because I've not got any plans to use it, and also because the mushrooms are struggling a bit this year because of the drought. I'm just going to leave them, but they're nice to see anyway. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that a day. The sea beet was the main thing I was after. So I'm gonna go home and cook a frittata. Here's how to make the sea beet frittata, which is one of the recipes in my new foraging guidebook. For this you'll need 150 grams of sea beet, which I've rinsed and roughly chopped, and then 12 eggs, 150 grams of halved cherry tomatoes, 150 grams of feta, 1 sliced red onion, a pinch of dried marjoram, and then some salt and pepper. Preheat your oven to 220 degrees. Add a small splash of cooking oil to a frying pan, and then over a medium heat you want to cook the sea beet, tomatoes, the onion, and a pinch of marjoram. Cook that out for about 3 minutes. It doesn't need to be fully cooked, just so that the sea beet is wilted like this. And you can take that off the heat. Crack the 12 eggs into a mixing bowl. Give the eggs a whisk. And then crumble in the feta. And a pinch of salt and black pepper. Put in your part cooked veggies. And give it a good stir. Wipe a thin layer of cooking oil into an oven dish. Being sure to get it all around the edges. And then pour in your frittata mix. And chuck that straight into the oven. And bake that for around 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, take it out of the oven and allow it to cool down for at least 10 minutes before you try slicing it. You can eat that warm or cold, and it's best served with some salad and red onion chutney. For the rock samphire seed pods, I'm just going to give them a quick pickle. So I'll rinse them first. And then I'm just ripping them off of the stem into a jar. So there we've got a jar of the rock samphire seed pods. I'm just going to add in some thinly cut ginger. And some cracked black pepper. And then top it up with some white wine vinegar. And then I'll just chuck that in the fridge and use it within probably around 3 months. And these pickled rock samphire seed pods are really good with baked fish. This is a typical sort of meal I'd have in an evening with a few forage elements in it. So to make a quick sauce, just going to melt some butter. And squeeze in some lime juice. And some parsley. Take that off the heat. I've got some pan-fried sea beet. Some sweet potato fries. Then we've got some baked mackerel. And then put that butter with lime and parsley over the top. And of course, sprinkle some of those pickled rock samphire